Okay, it's another late night, trying to go to sleep, unloading everything in my psyche moment. And I'm thinking back a couple of years ago to when I found myself suddenly craving a more wholesome life, right? Excuse me. So, hmm, I didn't even really know what I meant by this, right? I really kind of, I just had a sense, and it had something to do with a more wholesome life. I'm like, well, what does that mean? And I think I'm still just sort of defining it now in terms of being able to say that it's whole. It's all the things that are, I think whole and healthy have the same roots. It's like hail or something, and it comes from meaning whole. And right, there's something etymologically I can't remember at the moment, but there's a relationship there. And I guess I just wanted to be healthy. I wanted like good, clean fun. I wanted that to be good. And I'm not talking about being a saint, you want to go out and have a couple of drinks or, whatever your poison may be. You want to do or consume something that's not truly what we traditionally think of as wholesome, that's fine. But, but if you're living a wholesome life and you have these things in balance, you're not you're not losing what they offer because we become numb to things, right? And then you need more and more, and then we become gluttonous. And this is how I got to thinking about gluttony. And I'm like, we are so encouraged and rewarded, so incentivized to engage in things in a gluttonous way. We've been trained to be good consumers, and so we consume, and we do it mindlessly, and then we wonder why we don't feel well. And it's because it's out of balance. It's not in keeping with the whole. It's not healthy. It's right. It's not wholesome, right? And I almost kind of had an aversion to this word when I was younger because I think it was kind of misused by people who were very like pearl clutching and reactive to things. And they say, that's not wholesome. That's not suitable, and it kind of ruined the word for me. But then all of a sudden it came up for me again. I'm like, I think I want something wholesome or a more wholesome life. And yeah, as I've turned my focus to that, I find so much richness, so much fun. I don't need to be consuming or doing or being where it's at, or I don't know. I think also Mark Manson was talking about this. He was saying that he's been reflecting on how there was a cultural encouragement to be self-destructive. It was just part of the culture at that time. And I think it's left some marks in the way that there's still a little bit of that. Like, I think like the boss bitch energy is a derivative of that in some way. It's like be harder, be edgier, go out there, like shut down your feelings, go do what you have to do. Like it's not really strong and it's not really healthy and it's not the most productive way there, I don't think. I'm sure you get some things done, but at what cost, right? I think there's a net loss in that personally. It's my own bias. Nobody asked my opinion, but there it is. Anyway, in terms of like wholesomeness, I think it's about balance. I think it's about having like a lot of like good clean fun, like nourishing experiences with people, pulling back. And one thing that's crossed my mind is like, how often do we remember what it was like to be like prepubescent, I guess, like before we hit adolescence and like all of that stuff kicked in? Who were we then? Like, what did we love? Like, who did we want to hang out with? Were we like always looking for something to climb? Were we always a nose in the book? Were we like daydreaming? Were we rough and tumble? Were we having tea parties? Like, what did we love? What were we about back then? And like, use that as a reference point. For me, I loved being outdoors. I loved being in nature, the sky open above me. love that. And so I seek more of that in my life now, and I really feel very enriched. And something about being with nature, it just reconnects us. So it helps me to feel more reconnected, and I like that. I like having my senses about me. I don't think it's like awesome that you can drink someone under the table. Like that's not a good thing. It but this was some of the messaging that was out there, and then it still sort of lingers in these odd ways, and it's not cool. We've really devalued the concept of wholesome things being genuinely satisfying and sometimes some of the best fun. Like I would get so annoyed. There'd be these people who'd be like, I'm high on life. You don't need drugs. I'm high on life. And I'm like, oh my God, could you go rattle your tambourine somewhere else, please? But there's a truth to it. Like if you actually can get to the place where you're like, oh shit, I think I'm high on life, you realize there is a truth in it. And again, people like overdid it and soured things for me, but it doesn't mean the idea, the virtue, the benefit aren't like valid. It's all there. So anyway, I've been thinking about wholesomeness and what that really means and why I'm pursuing it. And the more I do it, sort of just on faith, like I don't know what happens. Go see what wholesome looks like. Go find out. Finding out it's pretty damn great. I'm really a big fan, and yeah, I would 5-star review. I'm all about it. So yeah, I just wanted to share that as I'm sitting here and really reevaluating it, checking in as I'm taking a moment, like just, at a rest stop, kind of like, okay, how far along are we on the map? Back when we had maps that were physical things you can look at. Now Google just tells you what to do. But yeah, not so long, it's not so distant past. Pull over somewhere and you'd look at a map, and I think we need to do that with ourselves. And as I find myself doing this, I'm sort of gleaning a little insight where I'm like, oh, I think it's something about this. There's some connection. So I thought I'd riff on it and share it with you. And thank you as always for joining me in my mad ramblings. I hope something in that random ramble was of actual value to you, or at least entertaining on some level. Okay, thank you. I look forward to seeing you the next time. Bye bye.